All right, welcome everyone, and thanks for joining us for this edition of CloudBytes hosted by Dean Dorton. Today we're going to be diving into the fourth and final Sage Intacct release of 2023, presented by our Software Services Manager, Dawn Parker. Just a couple of housekeeping things. If you have any questions during the webinar, please use the Q&A icon to ask. I'll be monitoring these questions throughout the webinar, and we'll make sure to address them with Dawn during the Q&A period at the end. If we don't get to your question today during the session, or if you think of one after we finish, contact information will be included at the end of the session and in the follow-up email that you'll get. And we encourage you to reach out. Just as a reminder, the Dean Dorton offices are closed next week for the holiday. So our support email address will be checked periodically for urgent issues, but we will be out of the office during next week. This webinar is being recorded, and you'll receive a link to the recording and slides in that follow-up email as well. Again, thanks for joining us today, and please don't hesitate to ask any questions in the Q&A. And with that, I will turn things over to Dawn.
Thank you, Nikki. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I see a lot of familiar names that have joined this webinar that I've worked with in the past. And if I haven't worked with you, I look forward to meeting you in the future. So we're going to jump right in. Our agenda for today is, of course, we're going to look at Sage Intacct. We're going to look at a save the date option. We're going to talk about some early adopter features. We're going to look at some features and enhancements that were already released in this most recent release. And then we're going to give you time to ask questions. You'll notice over to the right, you've got three little icons. If you see the gears on a slide, that means that a configuration is needed to enable that feature. If you see the little lock, that means there's a permission required. And then if you see the lounge chair, that means you can sit back and relax, and you already have that feature, and there's nothing new that you need to do to take advantage of that. So just keep that in mind as you see those icons on each of the slides. Okay, save the date. Sage Transform, the customer conference, is coming up in February, and we would love to have a lot of you join us there at that conference at the MGM Graham in Las Vegas. So we want to take a poll right now. We're going to pause and give you time to fill this out. You can either scan the QR code or use the link at the bottom. But just let us know if you're coming. There's also an option if you don't know if you're going to attend at this time. No problem. Just choose that option. So I'm going to pause just for a moment and give you all time to fill that out. Sage Transform is a very informative time for our customers to get together and learn and hang out with each other. And so anyway, we hope that many of you can join us for that. Okay, so I trust that you've had time to do that, so we're going to move right along. We're going to take a look first at some early adopters, some features that are not quite released for general availability, but they're in that early adopter phase. There's two this time around. There's the Bank Transaction Assistant, and that allows you to quickly assign customers to bank transactions and then receive multiple payments for multiple customers, all from the bank transaction page. There's also the Bank Transaction Import Experience. This is our new feature for bank transactions that offers flexibility, control, and visibility. And it's headed your way in a future release, but right now it's in the early adopter phase. This import experience takes the place of the classic import process. You can use one functionality or the other, but you can't use both. If you would like to be considered for either or both of these early adopter features, then please send us an email at the erpsupport@ddaftech.com, and we will submit your request to Sage to have that early adopter feature enabled for you. Okay, now we're going to take a look at some user experience options that were added. This first one, I know that you all have seen it already because it was released last Friday, but Intacct has a new look. They are taking advantage of the Sage branding, and they're using the bold colors that reflect the Sage brand. So buttons, menus, tabs, and links are updated with new colors. So I'm sure when you logged in on Monday morning that you saw that right away. There you see the little lounge chair icon. So there's nothing that you have to do here except sit back and enjoy the new branding. Another user enhancement is the list enhancement. In release 3, they added some list enhancements, like the vendor list was one of them. But you could, once you turned on that feature, it was kind of on. Now you have the option to turn this on or off. It's still in a beta stage, but you see all of the available lists that are affected over on the right as vendors, customers, locations, etc. A lot of the lists have the ability for you to move and resize and freeze columns and sort. And we looked at that during the release 3, but now you have the ability to switch back and forth. So you can turn it on and off in all of those list areas. They added a French language option. So now you can add the French language option for each user or each company. And depending on if you want to add it for the company or the user, depends on where you make that change. So if you're adding it for the company, it's under Company Setup, Company General. And if you're adding it for the user, then it's under the My Preferences. Up in the top right-hand corner of your screen, you'd click on your name, the user's name, and go to My Preferences. And then you could change it for each user, or you can do it in user setup as well. But anyway, so that is per company or per user. The French language option was added. Okay, we'll move now into consolidation. They added a new subscription. So this is a new purchase that you would need to make if you need advanced ownership consolidation. And it allows your business to expand and diversify your portfolio. It may become necessary for you to consolidate financial data across multiple entities with varying percentages of ownership. So that last statement is a big deal to a lot of you, is that now you can consolidate entities with varying percentages of ownership if you subscribe, meaning if you purchase this new advanced ownership consolidation feature. And if this is something that you would like to learn more about or would like to know the pricing, then please, again, send us an email to that support email and we can get you more information on that. Okay, let's take a look at the company and administration offerings. So there's a subscription for global transaction security. And in some regions, companies are not allowed to edit or delete transactions after they have been posted to the general ledger. And now with the global transaction security subscription, it helps companies comply with those requirements. When you subscribe to global transaction security, you can prevent users from editing, deleting, or reclassifying transactions posted to the general ledger. And you can do that at the top level, or you can do it by entity level if you don't need that security feature for all entities. So you can do it either at the top for all entities or at the individual entity level. There are some enhanced email delivery insights available. It was previously an early adopter, but now it's available to everyone in general release. The enhanced email delivery service feature supports DKIM authentication, which is the industry-leading standard for email security. DKIM ensures that your emails are delivered to their intended recipients quickly and reliably. Additionally, the enhanced email insights provide visibility into the delivery status of your emails. And so for more information on how that functions, you can take a look at the release notes for the release 4. And again, you'll notice the gear up in the top right-hand corner. That means there's a configuration setting in your under company setup, company security that would have to be enabled for this. Now you can mask employee bank details in the audit trail. It was requested many times that employee bank details be masked in the audit trail. When this setting is turned on, it impacts all new audit trail entries. It is not retroactive. It is just new audit trail entries. So just keep that in mind when it's turned to on or when it's checked in the company setup configuration, then it's here forward. It does not go backward. And with it masked, you would only see the last 4 digits of the bank file detail. You would not see the full account number as you have in the past in the audit trail. Alpha sequencing for reconciliation. Sage has added a new document sequencing option, which they're calling alpha sequencing. You can now create alphabetical sequences to use with bank and credit card reconciliation matches. Alpha sequencing is also available to the users in France and for the vendor and customer reconciliations. And to set that up, you go to Company, Setup, Settings, and Document Sequence, and then you can add that feature there or use that feature there. Okay, API usage. You have asked and they have delivered. You were asking for a better way. There's been some changes in how the charges are happening for API usage. And so everyone wanted to know how you could track that. And so now they've added some new features and a dashboard to help you do that. So unlike the existing API metrics dashboard and the Sage Developer Workspace, which only provides data from a single web services sender ID, they have added a new dashboard providing a complete view of all API activity in your company coming from the public gateway. To view the API usage dashboard, you must be an admin user. No configuration is needed from any other modules. It will not affect Salesforce or any other products making API calls. And you can find this feature under our new usage metrics section, and permissions must be enabled to view the dashboard. So you'll notice the little lock in the top right-hand corner, meaning that there's no configuration needed, but there is a permission needed. So you can see here in the middle under administration permissions, there's an API usage setting. So you would need view permissions. You need to be an admin user and have view permissions to be able to see that API dashboard. Here is an example of the API usage dashboard, and the dashboard filters to your current company. You can select data for your current month and the last 3 months. The data refreshes once per day at 6 p.m. Pacific time. It is not real-time data. Keep that in mind. It runs about 1 day behind. So API transactions by date are shown in the graph. Each bar allows you to drill down and filter through the data as shown in the transactions by applications and transactions function at below the graph here. You see that on the screen. You can see the percentage and number failed in each transaction count. This is a read-only dashboard. If there's any error messages, you would need to log a case or send us a support ticket so that we could escalate and find out what's going on, because it's read-only. Not currently, but in the future, they have plans to track it by user. For now, all numbers are capturing totals by function. There's no drill down capability at this time. Only what you see is what you're able to export. But you are able to export this data, and you can see here, you can choose the summarized data or the data with the current layout by clicking on export data. So that API usage, you are able to export that. All right, let's take a look at accounts payable. 1099s. The IRS did not change the pre-printed forms from last year. So the benefits are, if you have Sage Intacct compatible 1099s from last year and you print those, you're able to use the same forms this year. No real change there. E-filing. Sage with itself didn't make a lot of changes for e-filing, but the IRS has a new guideline that filers with 10 or more forms are now mandated to move to e-filing. So Sage jumped ahead of that last year, and they partnered with Tax Bandit. And they now, with that partnership with Tax Bandit, it's a fully automated integration, and you can meet that 10 plus form mandate and e-file your 1099s. I know several of you took advantage of that last year, and many more this year will, because of that 10 plus form rule. AP automation subscription usage tracking. This is also going to be very important because many of you took advantage of the free trial period for AP automation. It was free up until the beginning of October. And so many of you took advantage of that. But beginning October 1, you will start to get charged. You should get a bill if you used it probably sometime within November. But now you can monitor your usage. And so you can see in the bottom right-hand corner how you get to that, but you can go to company, admin, and then subscription usage. Keep in mind that is not under accounts payable, that is under company. So it's under company, admin, subscription usage, and you can track your AP automation usage. Here's an example of what the screens look like when you get in there. The monthly summary section shows the total number of transactions per month over the last 3 months. When you click on each summary link, you can view the detailed transactions and the transaction history. You can also see the attachments, the source entity, and further drill into each individual transaction detail. So let's talk about what are billable items for AP automation, because we've had a lot of questions about that because that free period is over. So what is billable? All successfully processed AP bills that came in through email or uploaded, even if they were deleted. If they came in and they were successfully came in the system and then you deleted them, you're still charged for them because they were successfully made it. What is not billable? A canceled bill because it was stuck at analyzing, it never fully was successfully come in, or a file was uploaded, but it could not be read by the AP automation, like if it got a cannot retrieve data message. But anything that was successfully added to the system will be charged. You will be charged for it. Okay, also in accounts payable, there's a pay bills column. Again, this is just one of those features you can sit back and enjoy because there's nothing really needed. But a new column in the pay bills shows the preferred payment method for each bill. You can now see the preferred payment method when you're going to pay bills. So it's just really for information only. Bills you select for payment are paid using the method you select at the drop down up here in the top of the screen where it says payment method. They're still paid by that method. You just are visually able to see now what their preferred method of payment is. There's now in accounts payable a payment provider selection. So they have added a payment provider selection field to help you filter your payment types. You can select from standard or CSI, and the preferred payment type will filter based on your selection. So now you have the ability, you have that new field added for payment provider. Okay. Have you ever submitted an AP bill for approval and then realized you needed to make a change and you're like, I wished I could call that back? Well, now you can. Now in accounts payable, they have the recall submitted bills option. So recall allows you to remove a submitted bill from the approval queue and return it to an editable draft state. You can then update the bill and resubmit for approval. Recall is available on the bills list and in bill detail view for bills that are in submitted state. Any user with bills edit permissions can recall an eligible bill. For the approver side, approvers who are set up to receive email notifications are notified when a bill in their queue is recalled. That's a great add because if they first got the notification that they had bills to approve, but then you recalled it and they went to look for it and couldn't find it, there would be questions. So it also notifies them when it was recalled. After a user recalls a bill and it returns to the draft state, the audit trail indicates that the bill was previously recalled. You can recall and submit a bill as often as you need to, and bills can be recalled using either the user interface or the API. So that's a pretty exciting feature there because we have questions all the time. I need to make a change to something that's already sent for approval. How do I do that? Well, now you can recall it. The vendor aging report. So there's been some new filters added to the vendor aging report, and they've added more filtering options to help you refine your report data and target specific vendors. So now there's a range selection so that you can pull a range of vendors. You can also include child vendors. You can use multiple vendors or vendor groups for your vendor aging report. So you can see on this screen in number 1, you've got it shows your child vendors. You've got AT&T and there's a parent and child. Maybe there's multiple addresses for different locations. And then they're using the range option. And then you can see what the output looks like on the aging report in number 3. Continuing on in accounts payable, there's a new required field for vendors. When you add or edit a vendor, there's an option to designate the vendor as an individual person. This option masks sensitive data for security purposes when using vendor payments powered by CSI. This is now a required field, so keep that in mind. That's a required field when you're setting up vendors. The value defaults to no for all vendors that were not already marked as individuals. If a vendor was marked as an individual before the R4 release, their vendor will be designated as an individual still going forward. When you import vendors in a CSV file, this option defaults to no as well unless otherwise specified. Vendor approval enhancements, we using the CSV templates. You know that in release 3, they added the vendor approval option so that you could get actual vendors approved before you use them. Well, now that previously the imports did not trigger the vendor approver process. Now, when you make a vendor update or a vendor add using the CSV template, the vendor is now submitted for approval. So the benefit there is it improves the support for CSV templates, and it helps with visibility and vendor account numbers for entities, because that trigger happens not only when you that trigger for approval, and that happens not only when you enter them manually, but when you use a CSV template as well. And along those same lines, that same functionality was added to the API. So when you add vendors or via API, that vendor approval is put into play as well. Okay, that brings us to the end of accounts payable. And there was lots of good features added to accounts payable this release. We're going to move into nonprofit. You are now able to change the billable related labels. So the term billable does not always make sense for nonprofit organizations working with grants. And so by selecting one checkbox, you can change the billable label to qualified expenses. All related labels are updated, and the list of affected areas are credit card transactions, my expenses and time and expenses, staff expenses, timesheets, bills and accounts payable, journal entries, etc., etc. Anywhere that you have seen that billable tag in the past, you can now, with one click, you can change that from billable to qualified expenses, which makes a lot more sense for our nonprofit customers working with grants. So they're indicating that they're qualified expenses that may or may not need to be billed back to that funder. So that is a great enhancement for our nonprofit customers. All right, projects. Let's find out what's new in the project module. Project estimates. You can now view your budgets in the project and grant summary tab. So with a project, and you can capture the detailed project estimates to compare estimated cost to actual cost. And that those detailed project estimates give you better visibility into project profitability. So you have that estimates tab now where you can see that estimate to actual comparison. And you can see here the project estimates set up. For the project estimate view, you manually enter estimates or either import estimates, and you can export those estimates also as needed. Okay, inventory. What's new? Inventory for sales order management is now generally available. It was in early adopter, but it's now generally available. And so is commit quantities during the order entry feature is now generally available as well. So all customers using those, using the inventory module can take advantage of that. Lease accounting. So lease accounting was introduced by Sage Intacct, I guess about a year ago now, to handle standards ASC 842 and IFRS 16. And if we were setting up if you were a brand new implementation and we were setting up your company, the quick start templates did not take lease accounting into a account, but now it does. So this doesn't mean a lot for you because if you're on this call, you're probably implemented and we've already chosen your quick start template and everything's all well, but that was added this with release 4. Okay, general ledger. You can change the general ledger account numbers or length. It requires a permission change and a configuration change. So you can now change your settings for the length of the account numbers as well as the numbers themselves. and you know that you've not been able to do that in the past. If you use all account numbers of a certain length, you can make more account numbers available by increasing the length is one benefit. Or if your company merges with another that uses a different account number pattern, you can standardize all your account numbers. This does require a configuration and a permission change as shown in the boxes below. But let's talk about this a little further. We recommend that you allow changes to account numbers only when you are making changes. Sometimes deselect that option. So in the configuration, we do not recommend that you leave that on all the time. Only turn on that configuration when you need it. If you change the length and then edit existing GL accounts without editing length of number, it will fail. So if you have an account number with 4 digits, let's say you have account number 5,000, but you change the configuration to make it 6 digits, and you go back in to edit account number 5,000, it will not let you save it until you make it 6 digits. So keep that in mind. Check reports, account groups, smart rules, events, platform triggers, third-party integrations. Check, double check, triple check. Do not start changing account number at month end or any time that you are out of time. This is something that you're really going to want to put a lot of thought to and have a lot of extra time, because it could break your reports. Chances are it probably will break your reports. So you're going to have to do changing to account groups and report settings and maybe integrations. So if you're going to change your account numbers or account links, please make sure that you have time to do that. Not discouraging you from doing it, just asking that you make sure you've got extra time to do it. And this change can happen via import as well if you'd like to change your account numbers or links. If you do change your account numbers from, let's say you wanted to make account 5,000, number 5001 for some reason, it would roll that change down to make it retroactive. So it would update the history as well. Okay. So that's a big change, has a lot of potential. Just make sure you think through it and have time to do it whenever you do it. Control future posting. So if you allow transactions to be posted to future fiscal years, you can specify how far into the future you are allowing posting. So you can see here it requires a configuration change in the general ledger configuration, and you can limit the number of unlocked fiscal years you have as the benefit. And it's especially important in regions where you are required to set that limit, but that is available. You can prevent adjustments in lock periods. So back in, I think it was release 3, possibly release 2, they added the lock periods option. So not only could you close periods, but you could also lock them. They've enhanced that now, where locking a period now totally prevents changes to the period because adjustments cannot be entered in lock periods. The benefit: you can produce official reports for lock periods with confidence, knowing that the information in your system will remain in agreement with those reports. If you enable this, once a period is locked, it cannot be unlocked or opened unless an admin unchecks the box in Configure General Ledger. So there is still a bit of a workaround if you needed to make a change, but it would have to be an admin user that could make that General Ledger configuration change to allow that. Okay, accounts receivable. This was previously in early adopter, It's now in for general audience, but you can receive single payments for multiple customers. So after this feature is set up, this option allows payments to a single customer or multiple customer accounts appear on the receive payment page. The benefit is this option is useful when you receive a single payment, one payment, but you need to apply it to invoices from different customers. So you still have the option to use one customer or customers with parent-child or multiple customers, and you can take that one payment and apply it across multiple customers. As in with the vendor aging report, they've also enhanced the customer aging report, and new filters have been added. You've got the range, the multiple customers, and the customer group. And so those were added as they were with the vendor aging report. So I'm going to take a quick break here and just see if there's any burning questions that need added before we need answered before we get to the end. Nikki, do you see any questions in the chat?
Yeah, there was one question in the chat about charges associated with the AP bill automation. Do you know about what those are?
50 cents per transaction.
So it will be associated with your level of usage then?
It is level of usage. I think there are some tiers. We can get more information on that. I do believe there are tiers that allow certain number of transactions. Certain number of transactions. So let's get some more information and get it out to the folks on the call about that pricing. Good question. Any others?
Let's see. That was the only one that has come in so far, so you're good to charge forward.
Okay. Okay, reporting. You can now drill down from stored financial reports. That makes me pretty happy. So when you run a report in a financial report in Sage, you have the ability to run it to print HTML and print it to the screen, which is right now data, or you can run it for now, but you can store it and so that you can access it as of a point in time. This drill down feature allows you to drill down on those saved reports. So if you ran a report as of the end of October and you wanted to know what the data was then on that date without any changes, then you would store that report so that it would be reflective of that date. There is one note here. You can drill down. However, the drill down is not as of a point in time. The drill down is as of today. So even though you stored that report as of October 31st, the drill down would show you any changes as of today. So the drill down is real time and the store is as of a point in time. So there's a little bit of a disconnect there that Sage is aware of. But I just wanted to point that out to you. Okay. Cash management. There's a bank transaction assistant, which was previously an early adopter. It's now in general audience, but it streamlines your accounts receivable receive payments workflow while accelerating your reconciliation process with the bank transaction assistant workflow. So you can easily and quickly assign customers to bank transactions and then receive multiple payments for multiple customers, all from the bank transaction page. After you receive the payments, the posted payments in Sage Intacct and the bank transactions automatically match for reconciliation. So that's a pretty cool deal there. You see that it requires a permission change and a configuration change. So in your banking setup, you have to choose to enable Bank Transaction Assistant. And then in your cash management permissions by user or role, you've got to give the permission for the bank transaction assignment rules and the receive payment from bank transactions. So both of those are required to enable that feature. Improve printed deposits. So you can see on the left what a deposit looked like previously, and you can see on the right what the deposit slip looks like now if you're printing them from the screen. So there's a much better visibility into each transaction within a deposit. The contracts expense recognition. What's new is they've added a new user interface of elements to expand the usability of contract expenses. And the benefit is you can now use the new expense lines list to easily manage your contract and contract line expenses. So if you have questions about that, please ask us, or you can, there's more information in the release notes as well. So we are going to move on to the product subscription updates. These are additional products that you would have subscribed to. And there's some updates there that we're going to talk about. So there's a Sage Ministry Intelligence subscription. They added a new subscription for Ministry Intelligence for church management data and visibility into KPIs. So this Ministry Intelligence seamlessly connects accounting and business operations by delivering key church management data and insights critical to strengthening congregation health. The integration with your church management system allows for up-to-date giving data, streamlined reconciliations, and improved collaboration across ministries and finance. Here is an example of the Sage Ministry Intelligence dashboard. And on this dashboard, it has giving metrics and trends, fund analysis, multi-campus analysis, and executive insights. So this is, again, a new subscription that you can take advantage of. And please let us know if you're interested in that. Sage Field Operations is another subscription that syncs seamlessly with Sage Intacct Construction. In this release, they have added flat rate pricing, Fortis payment integration, and enhancement to the mobile app. It streamlines field to office communication so that your field team can focus on delivering project excellence. The mobile app provides your team in the field with the critical information they need when they need it. And Sage Field Operations is available for Sage Intacct customers in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Sage Construction Management, or CoreCon, formerly known as CoreCon, helps you to align your finance and operations data to win more business and execute projects more efficiently. You can manage all your project operations from one platform on any device. You can connect your teams in the field and in the back office to execute projects on time and on budget. Project teams can track all necessary information in one central location. You can view Sage Construction Management from any browser or mobile device to develop, manage, and collaborate on project tasks from any location. And it integrates with your accounting solution to align finance and operations with one data source. Mateo, Sage Intacct Mateo is a cloud-based application that provides diocesan organizations a solution to support their savings and loans program for parishes and schools. The following features have been added. Support for accounting and reporting for endowments was added. Improvements to statements, list screens for savings and loans was updated, and usability improvements to make it more convenient and easier to use was updated as well. So let us know if you're a part of that organization and need those features. Sage Intacct Project Intelligence provides insight into employee time and performance. This understanding of employee efficiency helps uncover project trends and drive smart business decisions. If you're currently exporting timesheet data to Excel to calculate employee KPIs, you can switch to Project Intelligence to eliminate manual processes and get quantifiable metrics faster. All right, we are to the end of our presentation, and I would love to answer questions that you have. Are there any other questions, Nikki, in the chat?
Yes, we had a question about the payment application feature. Is that only for top level?
Payment application feature, the AP bill automation, or which payment? We get a little
I'm
bit more.
going to ask Joanna maybe to expand a little bit about what you were interested in on that. That might have been the multiple customer payment applications.
Okay. And I'm not sure if that's a top level only. If she's talking about the multiple payments from one payment to multiple customers, I'm not sure if that's top level only, but we can get the answer to that.
Okay, yeah, Joanna confirmed that that was what she was referring to.
Okay.
So I will write that down, and we can find out the answer to that for you.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
I do not see any additional questions in the chat. So we'll give people maybe another 20 seconds or so to get those in if you have any burning questions. And I don't see any additional ones. Oh, I do see an additional one coming in. Dawn, can the print layout be changed in the deposit report?
That is a great question, and I am not sure. We will check on that as well.
Yeah. Apparently right now it is portrait instead of landscape. So we would like to save some trees over here in the chat.
Okay. All right. So all right. We will certainly find the answer to that. Can the print layout be changed? Okay.
Yep. And do we know if there is any info on what teaches the AP bill automation feature?
What teaches it? I do have documentation that I'll be glad to share. It's a very easy to use feature, but I can certainly send whoever asked that question documentation. I don't know if there's anything in Sage University on it. I can check that as well, but there is help features. If you go to the help menu and look up AP automation, there is documentation there. And if that is not what you need, I can send you documentation as well. But I love the AP automation, the AP bill automation feature, and it is a very easy to use feature.
All right. I will get Alexis's contact information from here so that we can send that documentation out.
Perfect.
These are great questions. So if you have more, keep them coming. All right. Well, they seem to have slowed down, so we'll go ahead and end on that note. Just as another reminder, you'll be getting this recording and the slides from Dawn's presentation, and we'll address the questions that came through directly with those who asked them. And again, our offices will be closed next week for the Thanksgiving holiday. So if you have anything urgent during that time, of course, we'll get back to you on that. But if you have anything that you would like to ask or have addressed before the holidays, please go ahead and send an email over the next day or so we can take a look at that. And with that, we'll sign off, and we wish all of you a happy Thanksgiving and hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you, Nikki. Thanks everyone for joining us. Have a great day.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, Dawn.